Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and ingrates, and welcome to Lights Out League Racing Season 30, Race 7. It's 7 now, I can't believe it, and as those that know their track layouts, we are at Spa-Francorchamps here in Belgium, and I absolutely love this track. This is my favourite, and those that are regulars with the Discord will know that it's pretty much on every single calendar, and that's decided by the drivers, not me. Last week we had a brilliant race at Kota where Daniel, no one noticed he was there. He was that quick. He was like a fart in a windstorm. Back again to see if he can get back-to-back wins, but there'll be one or two snapping at his heels and snapping at my heels this week. We've got a co-commentator, Mr. Terry Reds. Good evening, Terry Reds. How you doing, friend?
Good evening.
And what?
For a good race.
Yeah, what are you expecting? Yeah, no problem. It's always good to have an extra pair of eyes and a different point of view. You've got a big fan in the chat. You've got many fans, and Mr. Guna Reds is absolutely loving having you on stream. So what are you expecting from today?
Apparently my mic is super quiet, so let's see if I can figure out how to fix that.
Okay. Well, I'll have a bit of a chat then. Brutus Beer leading us around Spa. Our next race is where are we next week? Austria Reverse. And that's Brutus won that last time, so I think he'll be gearing himself up this race, ready to follow up with next week's. But he's got a big job of doing the first hot lap in quali, and we'll do a run round of this old traditional circuit as it goes the run up to the tight right hairpin of turn 1 of the Source, where there's one or two overtaking opportunities. Let's keep an eye on Catamese trying to do the DRS chicken as Brutus goes down to turns 2 and 3 of Eau Rouge, climb 30 metres elevation over the crest, blind rise, and he's got a slipstream. Team play, you know I love a bit of team play. Slipstream off his teammate, going down the Camel Straight as he approaches Lacombe's, where you drive with precision. Tight right, tight left, avoid going on the curbs too much or you'll lose traction. Down the right hander of Malmedy as we approach Brussels, a slow right hairpin. It seems like it goes on forever. Round No Name, avoid going into the gravel. Your hot lap is messed up. He's looking good so far. Downhill round the biggest challenge on the track of Pouillon, flat out left-handed double corner. You see many drivers test the track limits. Round Piff Path of turns 12 and 13. Again, very tricky corners where the slightest touch of the curb and your car will be facing backwards. Round Stavelot ending sector 2 is 1:13.8, and the final sector is a very easy one. It's basically a straight line of Blanchemont, where you do see one or two overtakes happening through the slipstream as we approach the final couple of corners. A tight hairpin, bus stop chicane. Does a hairpin? Contradictory. Bus stop chicane. Get good traction on the exit. Short run to the line. And it's a 1:41.5 for Brutus. I think that's a decent, not a bad first run there. As Capslock goes P2 with a 42.4. Michael splits them with a 42.3. So yeah, Brutus with a very quick first time. Who you reckon's going to get on pole this week?
Good lap from Brutus. Probably got to fancy Daniel after last week's rapid quali time.
It was slightly inhuman, I reckon.
Yeah. Not sure if you had a chance to read my notebook. I said how it was an 80.
As he does go provisional pole with a 40.9. So that's good 6/10 ahead of Brutus, who, funnily enough, has got ahead of Amadi, which is not a bad shout at all. As Labrat Dan goes up to P4, 42.4 with his teammate Benja for today. One of the Div 2 boys reserving for us. And you'll catch the Div 2 lads, including Mr. Terry Reds, at about 9 p.m. UK. Benji in the McLaren leading the way in Div 2. Just filling in for Higosh in the McLaren. Reserves, of course, get half points in the Constructors. And McLaren will be needing all the points that they can get to retain their championship. So, do you have any tips for any of the drivers at all?
I don't think it's for a Div 2 driver to get picked for Div 1 boys. But yeah, very impressive time from my Div 2 challenger, the championship leader in his first run. He's impressed me actually, where he's filled in Div 1 to be fair. Showing he's got the pace.
Well, I always say it's like a dry run for them, a bit of extra practice. But no, it's an incredible job that Benji's been doing. As Adam Ako just slots behind him as well, 43-1. And of course, Adam is new on the wheel. And he does noticeably, he's getting quicker every week.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely noticing an improvement.
Jax Daniels goes above Adam, 42-8. Out of a bit of form at the moment, Jax. Had a really strong start to the season. Got himself a race win. But he's just a bit out of sync. Benedict, P9. Leading the way in the Elite Championship. And those that are not aware, our divisions are split into 2 tiers. Div 1 has Platinum and Elite. The top 10 and the second best 10. And each... the Constructors are divided with a member from each tier. And Benedict doing well at the moment, and he's about 22 points ahead, I think, something like that.
Yeah, looking strong in the Elite, Benedict, after his promotion.
Got Lena Zukan reserving for us. Very quick driver, sporadic on the grid, but I said this very quick. He goes P13 with a 43.4.
First lap, or if he's only doing 2 runs.
Well, he's on a hot lap now. He's just set the fastest first sector, or that's what the game tells us, so we'll keep an eye on him. He's on screen as he goes round No Name. He's going to be one challenging for that pole position. Portuguese has gone up to P2 on the front row, 41.1, so just over 2 tenths behind Daniel, so it is pretty tight at the top. It'll be interesting to see what the current championship holder and leader of this season can do. He's not having it all his own way this season, which is very, very good to see.
He's still very consistent now every week, always on the podium.
Well, that's always a thing, I think. If you want to challenge at the top, you don't have to be the quickest driver. You just have to be consistently on the grid. And you can't get points if you're not racing, which sounds like basic bitch advice. Yep, front row for Callum. Oh, it's very tight there between him and Portuguese. Only about 300ths between them. So I jump on with Martin. Last week he was eating out the bin. Can he finish the race this week? I think he's DNF the last couple. And Alpine needs some points on the board. Cap's like carrying the team at the moment. Martin, of course, only joined us a couple of races ago. Took over from Theo. And setting himself within the division. We might only see a couple of runs from drivers in this quali. It is a mandatory tyre race, which means in the feature race, drivers have to use a set of softs, mediums and hards at least once. And those that will want to use maximum tyre life of the soft tyres in the race will probably use the same set for 2 runs.
It's an interesting one to see as a driver. It's one of my favourite races we do, the mandatory tyre races. always mix it up and makes it an interesting strategy.
Well, it also throws in the bag. If a safety car comes out, it completely messes the strategy up. As Martin goes P6 behind Armour D, 41.9. So it's quite spread out after the front three. And I have a feeling once one or two drivers dial in.
I imagine Ahmadi's got some time to find.
Someone else that's got to find some time is Wesker. He's got to set a time because he's just been facing the wrong way after going through Piff Path. Since that Katamise on a lap. Katamise is followed by AJ, both on a hot lap. AJ's probably a bit too close than they like to be to the Haas. Caught in a little bit of dirty air. Might hamper his time. Probably helps him down the straights though. A little bit slipstream. Katamise looking to jump up a couple of positions. AJ almost collides in the back of the Feline. As Katamise goes up to P9. AJ's P18, so I think his lap was hampered. Jax is in. Nice, definitely. Jackson validated, so he's not going to improve. So we're keeping an eye on Armour D, who's just under a tenth up on his time, which could get him ahead of Brutus. He needs to find a total of half a second to even consider being in the top three. Around the final couple of corners. Oh, he invalidated on the final chicane. Kick in the nuts. Robert Dan's in the pit, so he's not going to improve. Let's keep an eye on Benja. Daniel and Portuguese both on a hot lap now. Ferrari goes up to P13 ahead of Benedict. Benedict to the elite leader, not in a great spot as yet. It's like a paper aeroplane coming out the top stand. 40.8. Cat's invalidated. Let's keep an eye on Capstock's invalidated. So let's keep an eye on Portuguese. Michael, I think, was ahead of him. So we'll keep an eye on Michael as he's just come through sector 2. He's 5 seconds down. Let's not keep an eye on Michael. He felt the pressure. Portuguese going through the middle sector. The most technical part, where those that want to go as low wings as possible to maximise down the Kemmel and Blanchimont. And will come a cropper through this section of corners. Martin needs re-inviting because he's eating out the bin. He's back in as Portuguese has found 3 tenths. This is a pole lap and he's invalidated. How's he done that? Yeah. Oh God. He's sweating like Anne Frank in tap shoes. He's straight in the pits. There's only 4 minutes to go, so everyone will be trying to go for their final run.
Standing for the Div 1 championship. Callum's leading by 43 points over Ahmadi. 4 races to go.
It's still played for. Anything can happen, and all it takes is a collision on the first corner, or Adams on a hot lap. He was 4 seconds down. He's validated, so I'll jump back on with Lenazuken, who's found a 10th and a half. Needs a bit more time to gain a position, but yeah, anything can happen.
I think the big talking point for me in the standings is, are the Cats getting relegated to Div 2?
Potentially. Either that, they need either that, or getting put down. Lenazuken's found half a second. He's flying now. Mr. Geezer says Your mic is up your arse. You might need to turn it up a little bit, Mr. Terry's.
From the max I can go.
And as he crosses the line, improves 42.9. Just finds that one position that he needed. As Katz doesn't want to get relegated, but can't improve on his position. Found 8/10 though, but can't improve on position as everyone's coming out now for their final run. You can see that cluster of cars coming out the pits like a gaggle of geese. And let's see who's going to be the first one to cross. It will be Brutus then, setting the first final flying lap. And everyone's looking like they're using 3 sets, so very interesting. And he's going to take a wide line on the entry to the start of the lap. And he gets underway. Good traction coming out the first corner. Need a good exit to go through, full throttle through Eau Rouge, and you can do in the dry conditions. Oh, Radion, it's like a slingshot. He doesn't have the slipstream like he did on the first flying lap, so I'll be surprised if he does improve. He has not. He's just slightly down. I love these section of corners. They feel like they don't exist. Well, you can't see he's in his car. He might be wearing nothing. He might be driving nude. The reason he doesn't have a gear stick is because he's got a boner. Approaching Piff Paff. Oh, just a little loss of traction on the rear on entry. As we come out, final out the second sector, slightly up on the time, but he's pretty much on par with his fastest time. And doing well in P4, second row. He seems to be there and thereabouts throughout the season, and just needs that little extra wringing of the cloth to find that. Oh, I think he messed up. Lost of traction out the final corner as well. If he struggled to improve, he's down 2/10, so nice, he can start his P4. Katames does find an improvement on time, but not on position. It's Benedict next and starts P12. Not a good qualifying for him. Lucas in the pit, so he's not going to improve. Messed up his time. AJ's found 2 seconds. Incredible improvement here. He saved it best for last. Just needs to nail the final couple of corners. Cut the final corner a bit too much, but crosses the line. It goes P13, 42.4. Lennon says Jax is in the wall. Of course he is. The absolute plonker. Martin Silva threw himself into turn 18. Crosses the line. Can he improve? P6. Rari next, and it's Benja. Benja up to P9. Incredible lap from Benja. Team Egg, as Labrett's teammate, starts just ahead of him, P9. Benji boy, P12. I think he'll be disappointed that. Capslock starts ahead of his teammate, P6. Incredible lap from the elite driver. Daniel, 40.6. Wow. When you didn't think it could get any better, it does. Portuguese. Oh, that's an incredible lap. I'm a DP4. Callum, what can Callum do? He's starting P3, 40.9. Can't improve. Adamako needs to start above his teammate for bragging rights. He does not. P16. Next is Katz. Meow, meow, motherfucker from the back. And Wesker will start just ahead of him. He does not improve at all. So Daniel, back-to-back poles. And proving a great addition to the Discord. And putting up a massive fight for the big three. Not so big anymore. They're micro penises in comparison.
Talk about the big four. Joins their bracket.
And you're normally watching the stream anyway, but do you normally watch for tips when you're watching the Div 1 boys?
Sometimes it's interesting watching the lines they take and what lap they're pitting on and things. It's always useful to see.
Oh.
Do the rundown of the order.
Well, you've seen Daniel get pole with a 40.6. Portuguese joining him on the front row with Callum and D behind. Bruce's caps lock row 3. Martin Silver and Michael 7th and 8th. Robert Dan and Benji round off the top 10 with Jax, Benji, Katamis, Benedict, AJ, Adam, Linazukan, Wesker and Katz from the back. There's a cat that does need putting down after that lap. Now drivers will be sorting out their strategies. Benji happy with his banging lap. Sorting out their fuel loads, and of course it is at least 2-stop strategy from everybody, which again adds an extra bit of shine to the race. It sometimes can be quite straightforward when they're one-stoppers, but be interesting to see what tyres people start on. What would you start on, or are you going to have a look and see what people do in this race?
It depends on your qualifying position. I think a lot of people are going to start on the softs. The softs don't have a lot of life here, so expecting 2, maybe 3 laps at most. So if you're near the front, I expect most people to start on those, but I wouldn't be surprised if Callum did what he did at Hungary and started on the hards.
Well, his strategy worked because of that late safety car, and maybe banking on that again, maybe run long in some free air. But I think it also depends how long the soft tyres last, because if you can get a good stint out of them.
Bearing in mind, I think with every majority of the grid doing 3 runs, I don't think it'll have a lot of life in those softs.
That is true. That's true. So what we'll probably find maybe a lot of drivers doing the softs at the start, a couple of laps, and then pit.
I think so. Yeah.
What's tricky about this track though, with turn 1 being such a tight and short run to the corner, a lot of the time it does get congested. We do see 1 or 2 collisions, so 1 or 2 might be forced into an early pit stop anyway, so soft tyres might be the way to go.
That's interesting to see. I think Benji Boy and Benji are doing well representing for the Div 2 boys. Very competitive times there. Your pick for the podium then, Alex?
I'm gonna go Daniel. I think he's not as far ahead as he was last week, but I think with him being at the front, staying out of trouble.
I think he was another one who started on the hards actually. I know, was that last week at Texas? Texas. And he did the ultimate.
I'm going to go. I'm a DP2 because that seems all that he can do. And I'm going to go Portuguese P3. I'm going to go with Callum no podium.
I'd like to see somebody else outside of those big 4 get on the podium.
Now, here's an interesting strategy. Portuguese, the only one on hards. Majority of the grid are on softs with caps lock, Jax, Adam and Wesker all starting on mediums. I think mediums is probably the wrong way to go. I think it's either softs or hards to start with. You're either going short or long. I think mediums kind of rules you out any sort of option.
Yeah, it's tricky because all of those soft runners in front of you are all going to pit, and so you'll have clean air. Obviously, the couple of other medium hards that are still out there.
This is.
Like you say, it all hinders on them safety cars really. If there's a safety car who benefits from the timing most.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, this is a traditional circuit built back in 1921, and then they use the public roads around the local towns of Spa-Francorchamps, Malmedy and Stavelot, and used to be 14.9 kilometres, but now the circuit updated in 1979 is a 7-kilometre clockwise circuit, 19 corners, 9 to the right, 10 to the left, with 2 DRS zones. Very, very effective. One down the start finish and one down the Kemmel Straight. There is a 63% chance of a safety car, and I did double check after the last couple of weeks, and it is on standard settings, so the fact it doesn't come out as often as we think, very, very strange. Yeah.
Multiple times this season, I thought it probably should have.
And Daniel's leading us around to the final couple of corners. Big gap between the front 4 and Brutus in P5. Front 4 drivers trying to get some good heat in the tyres, especially Portuguese, who you suspect will get jumped at the start with being on the harder compound. But the front 4 jumping into their grid spots. Brutus in P5 and doing a fantastic job this season, finishing there and thereabouts. Capsock joins him on row 3. Brilliant qualifying for him, and he is actually the pole for the elites. Martin Silva P7 with Michael behind P8. Labrat and Benja teammates side by side in the top 10. Jack Daniels P11, lone Aston Martin this week with Hannington missing. Benji Boy P12 with Katamis 13th, Benedict 14th, AJ, Adam, Linazuk and Wesker and Katz. Just, oh, where's that Haas? What's that Haas doing in there? What is he doing? That's sneaky. This game messes up sometimes, but what it doesn't do is 5 lights. And it's going, away we go for the Div 1 race here in Spa. And it's a good launch by Daniel. Callum gets straight past the Portuguese, he gets swamped on the inside. Oh, we've got, that looks like Brutus. That's a brutal collision on the inside of turn 1, and it always happens. And he finds himself at the back behind Wesker. Good start from Jax and Katamis. Caps up to P5 from P14, the performance driver champion from last season. And Benedict as well up to in the top 10. And that was a crazy start as expected. And Katz and Michael side by side as we approach Lacoombs. And Benji just slightly going offline in the McLaren. Cast of Adam just going slightly off track as Linazukan's in the gravel without a rake. Brutus getting past him and just resetting himself. Wesker found himself at the back again, not having the greatest of weeks. And Cap's not getting swamped though. Katamis and Benedict getting past him just ahead of Pouillon. Oh, we've got a collision behind. I saw some carbon fibre and it looks like the Visa Carb of Cats. Oh, the RB's not having a great start to the race here in Spa. And he's got a damaged end plate, which we'll probably see him in the pits then, and he started on the hards. Benja past AJ up to P14. Armadies managed to get past Portuguese as well. It's a train down to Jackson. Look, Jack's up to P7. Benedict Katamis going off track. Side by side with Capsock. It's a very difficult corner. Like wheel banging. Early. No, I'm going to use your memory. It's too much stress. I end up sweating like a dyslexic on countdown. Yeah, please. So there's a good handful in the pits, and Daniel Katamis, Brutus, Italian hand gesture for Katz, and Benji. Oh, getting an early pit stop out of the way. And that's unfortunate 10 seconds there for Katz. So Callum now leading the race. Everyone gaining a position. Martin Silva doing a brilliant job here in the Alpine as Capsock as well, overtaking his championship rival up to P7. And but Labrat leading the way in the elites, found himself all the way up in the top 5 of Ferrari. Doing a brilliant job so far in his debut season as a full-time driver. And he's kind of up and down, Labrat. It seems like he's really, really strong one week, and then next week just...
I know I spoke to him last week and he didn't have any time to practice, so other week he has and he's very strong.
And he's holding off Jax Daniels at the moment, which is a good feat. Martin Silva staying with the front 3, so proving why he's in the Platinum division. As I said, it's DNF'd a couple of times this season, but going strong as of yet. Adamak up to P9. and trying to swat off Benedict, and he's keeping him honest. A little notice there from Lennon saying Daniel's pit, but he's caught up in a bit of traffic. Stuck behind Wesker at the moment, so an early undercut may be hampered. 1 2 again going in the pit, so it's Michael, Benja, AJ and Lynn Azukan.
Which he's doing very well, staying on the half to stay with Callum and D.
Well, that's all he needs to do, is he stay in the DRS, get pulled along, and he'll be in a good position. Daniel should be able to make a move on Wesker. Down the Kemmel as Adam has got past Benedict on the outside of Lacoombs. So brilliant overtake from the Haas up to P8. As Daniel does get past the Austrian into the top 10 for Daniel. And a little bit of free air now for the Mercedes to just pump in some laps. Brutus seems to have settled himself, had his pit stop and makes a move past Katames. Katames is normally a difficult person to overtake. He normally has a rear end that's big. It's like two Boy Scouts having a pillow fight in a tent. From Finland, which means it only works for 2 hours a day. I think they're going to go as long as they can on these soft tyres, especially with Portuguese on the long first stint. I think potentially try and hold up Portuguese. He's not going away. Amadi's in, Callum carries on. Martin Silva's in as well. And Jack's on the medium, carries on, but he's got Labrat closing him down. And this is... And this is the joy of the mandatory tyre races, that the strategies of everyone is completely different, and you never know how the race is going to play out until the final stint. The last few races, Brutus absolutely flying. P11. Yeah, so he's looking for a quicker final stint. I think he's got a good 2.5 seconds or so of open air just to get his tyres up to temperature and settle himself on this new compound. But here's the tyre advantage. Benedict getting past Benja. It's a Spider-Man meme. If Benji gets past AJ, they're going to be in a row. I'm going to be all flummoxed. Capsock. Oh, brilliant overtake. Just ahead of Piff Path. He had more speed coming out of Pouillon. And overtakes the Ferrari. Maybe those soft tyres just aren't what they were a couple of laps ago. And we wouldn't be surprised if we see the Ferrari pit. Brilliant overtake. You don't see it often there. Callum's in, yeah, expected. There's no more than 4 laps.
Nearly hit the wall then on pit entry.
Now that would have been something. Oh, we got a yellow flag though. Somebody has hit something. I reckon, was it somebody going in the pits? No. Or somebody span. No idea. As Callum comes out just ahead of, no, just behind Wesker. So I'll get a dose of DRS. And just ahead of Amadi. But both on different strategies. Amadi with the advantage after the next pit stops, as Callum does get dispatch of Wesker without too much fuss. Up to P6 for the McLaren. But he's 5 seconds behind Daniel.
Anthony's flying past Labrat down. Benedict also going for it.
Oh, good defence from the Ferrari. Good awareness from Benedict, not trying to force it as yet. Labrat on those colder tyres after just coming out the pits. But yeah, we see Daniel's got a good 4.5 seconds on Callum. Callum's actually gained half a second, but he's got a 3 tyre offset. You know, that could play a big part near the end of the race.
He's stuck behind Wesker. That needs to get past as soon as he can.
Yeah, he's already lost about 3 seconds to Callum. I won't be surprised if he tries to get past him down Blanchimont. Martin Silva is having this battle with Amadi. It's a 3-car cluster as we approach the chicane. Amadi on the inside of the bus stop. Martin, almost collides with Wesker, but good traction out the corner. Wesker's back end not playing its part, and Martin follows Amadi through.
And we'll get past Adam from
Adam will have a dose of DRS though. She might be able to retake the position.
Caps Lock's got up to Jack Daniels as well.
Daniel, great straight line speed. Adam takes a look, but he's just not quite got the pace. Martin past Amadi up to P7. And it's not often you see Amadi get overtaken. He doesn't have the nickname the Flying Scotsman for nothing. Arsenal 1-0 for those that are interested. Benedict had a Labrat. He teased it last lap. Has managed to make that stick now. Labrat with Benja. Speaking, I can't do it, man. Benji actually running P17, so that qualifying hasn't followed through the race, and maybe give a little bit of optimism to the Div 2 boys. But he's not looking as strong. I don't recall him having any incident at the start. Interesting. The Portuguese leading the way on those hard tyres.
Lock and Jacks.
Jacks
might have given him the position there.
Yeah, probably. Those Caps Lock's in the pits as well, so a little bit of gameplay there from the Alpine. Psychological warfare. Daniel now goes through up to P3. And Portuguese with a good almost 10-second advantage. Out in front and just managed his own pace. Caps Lock going on the soft tyres on the middle stint. Very interesting. So he's doing softer hards. As we see Benedict and Labrat having a squabble again. Caps Lock managed to get out just ahead of Michael. Alan and Amadi making moves. P4 and P6. Yeah, for an overtake from the Mercedes. A lot of drivers getting the overtake done early before the turn in. Just being able to carry that speed a lot more through. Oh, I'm saying that, Benedict just made that stick against Katamis on the outside. Brilliant driving.
Katamis complaining a lot about his setup this week.
Nice.
Benedict to make that overtake there, so hopefully still got some good straight line speed.
Well, he's used to practicing in kitty litter, isn't he? So if he tries it on tarmac, he should be alright. Big trainer with AJ in P16, just waiting with intent, but he's got Benji in his rearview mirror as well. We've got a good battle here of 6 cars as we see Caps Lock and Michael. Oh, Michael! He's in the grass, coming around Stavlop. As Jack Daniels now in the pits from P2. Now, just under 12 seconds advantage Portuguese. And he's the only one. And Adam, is Adam going to pit? He's not. Adam's carrying on the medium, so.
He's caught right up to Daniel now. Nearly in DRS.
As Wesker's in as well, getting off those medium tyres. And been causing a bit of nuisance around. He's always been holding drivers up, which I think, you know, it's good driving. He's been putting on a great defensive show.
Have to concede the position. Portuguese and Adam again for the only ones not to make their first stop.
I wouldn't be surprised if Adam does pit at the end of this lap. He's got Amadi and Martin. Amadi's not going to try and make a move through Pouillon. I think he's going to be stuck behind him for the next few corners, which he's just got Martin in his clutches. Good battle behind with Capslock and Brutus as well. Jax Daniels coming out on the softs, doing a similar strategy to Capslock. And both them absolutely flying. Brutus just going off track slightly, caused him to ghost a little bit, and Capslock goes through. Amadi goes through on Adam, down Blanchimont. Martin Silva tries to follow through as well on the inside of the chicane. Adam still going round side by side with Martin, but it just doesn't have the traction as the other two. And it's running well in P6 though. I think he's going to try and go as long as he can on these mediums, do a short stint on the softs, or maybe waiting for a safety car.
Still think he's probably going to come in this lap. Although, if he's still within DRS, he might just hang on. Callum making a move on Daniel.
Yeah, and Callum, some incredible pace, considering he said he was not very well. And who's doing very well is Adam. He's got past Martin with DRS. It's back up to P5. As Brutus doing the same move and slapping away Capslock. Capslock looking to do a switchback through Malmedy. A good defence from your instructor's teammate. Who's leading the way? Is it McLaren?
Leading the way. I think we're 10 points behind.
8 points.
8
points. And then 12 points behind you is Red Bull. So very tight at the top.
Very tight.
Which, considering, well, it just means we've got more of a balanced teams this season. McLaren were very strong. Both drivers winning their respective divisions in Div 1. Daniel's pitting. And he's doing his final pit stop. It means he's going to be doing 12 laps on the hards. Martin Silva and Adam both pitting as well. So Martin doing his second pit stop. Adam doing his first. So Daniel and Martin, this is their pit stops done. Same as Brutus. So these hard tyres must be able to do a good 12 laps or so. But they're going to be very tricky conditions for them near the end of the race. And he'll have Capslock and Jax Daniels ahead of him, Daniel, when he catches up to him. So it's not the best strategy. The two soft runners side by side through Lacombe's, and Capslock is ahead, P4.
Jack's perhaps giving too much respect to Capslock there. I thought he was going to go for it.
So it depends on the corner, doesn't it? Like, you don't want to be the cause of ruining someone else's race or your own. But yeah, he bottled it. He's done in Arsenal. He's bottled it and bottled the position. But again, he's doing well in P5. Like I said, he's not in the greatest form at the moment. So he's in some good form. Adam Acco just behind his teammate. I wouldn't be surprised if Katamis lets him go on those new tyres. He does. Great team play. Ah, lovely. And the Katamis, as we said, will drive like the Finnish Frigiers and try and keep away the Benjers and the Benjis. Oh, it does. I'm dripping. We've got a yellow flag and it's a Ferrari, and it's Benja going down Blanchimont. He's hit the wall. Trying to put his foot down on the grass. He's got a wing, so we think we'll be seeing Benji into the pits to get a fresh wing. as we see a glutter of cars into the pits now, getting onto those fresh tyres. This will be their final stops as well. Everyone going onto the hards for their final run, including Jax, who's come out behind Brutus, who's just pit as well. So this will be for grid position. Right ahead of Martin on the inside of Lacoombs. Great battle here for P7 with Adamako as well on those soft tyres. We'll try and utilise them as much as possible. Martin having a look on the inside. And I thought he's going to... He managed to break the car in half by braking hard. And got himself into P7. I don't know what I was saying. Adamako having a quick look. He's pushing Labrat Dan round Pouillon. Did you see any of that Newcastle game? Oh my God. Carrier bag. Terrible. They were literally playing like a carrier bag. From Farm Foods. It was that shit. Yeah. Exactly. Portuguese in for his first pit stop. Callum's taking the lead of the race. Amadi's coming round turn 1, but Portuguese have got a good gap ahead of the Red Bull and comes out 4 seconds behind Portuguese on those fresh mediums, both yet to pit. Adamako ahead of the Ferrari Labrat at the chicane, and this is absolutely... Adam's flying. I think it's probably one of his best races of the season so far without tempting fate. Yeah, well, a confident driver is a happy driver. Jax ahead of Capslock. Capslock coming out and doing his final pit stop and doing the rest of the race. Yeah, just that one lap offset, so shouldn't be too much of a difference between the two. It's Brutus overtaking Benji. Benji going to pit him, will be pitting very soon. P9 for the carb. So he's looking still 10 laps, so 11 laps to go. Portuguese under 2 seconds now to Callum. Portuguese looking... It would make sense. And to jump on the hard tyres. Should be comfortable 10 laps or so for the McLaren. But Portuguese is gaining tenths at a time. And Callum is in, yeah, as predicted. And Portuguese retakes the lead of the race. Amadi will take P2. Daniel coming around the final chicane. Interesting to see where these two come alongside each other. Daniel's going to turn 1. I think Callum will come out just behind him, but again we'll have that 3-lap offset. We've got a Visa carb. It's AJ coming out of Piff Path. And he's hit the wall. He's got a damaged end plate.
I think AJ's another one who's just switched to wheel.
Yeah, and I think he'll be enjoying himself a lot more than being on pad. As Adam in for his final pit stop, and we'll go on the hards for the rest of the race. Will come out. Oh, might be just behind his teammate. It's going to be tight. It's just ahead, so Adam has done an undercut on his teammate. Overtake there from Brutus on Labrat. Brutus scything his way through the field now. He's got under 4 seconds as AJ's in the pit and retired. And calling it a day for today. And thank you for retiring in the pits, my friend. So only one out of the 19 retirees so far, and having 19 drivers on the grid as well. You know, this time of the year, this time of a season, it's not often you get a good turnout. We've had many races, seasons prior to this, where you struggle to fill half a grid, but both grids this season have been consistently full. And I think
We've come to the end of the game cycle as well.
To be fair, it's a big credit to Mr. Terry Reds. To be fair, he's done a big job on recruitment. And we've got a constant cycle of drivers joining. One which you'll see, a new boy in the Div 2 race about 9 PM UK. Jack's getting past Benji, down Blanchimont. Aston Martin not holding back. Labrat's in the pit for his final pit stop. Still jumping on the medium tyres for his final stint. So interesting enough, Portuguese will be going on the softs at the end.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Daniel's 16 seconds off the lead. Not sure how long the pit window is.
Labrat should come out ahead of Linazukan, just behind Katamies. And we'll have a nice DRS slipstream down the Kemmel. As we see Benji. Oh, not close enough to get back at Jax. Does have 9 lap older tyres, so we'll find it a bit more difficult to close that gap at the start of the run. Martin Silva. But I was going to say, Benedict's still yet to pit. And we see him getting himself a track limits.
He's kicking himself over that.
Yeah. Of course, had a bit of fun last week with Kota. No track limit penalties meant extra 3 bonus points for drivers. But we did get a glutton of penalties. There's only a handful that managed to be awarded that prize. As Amadi pitting then for the final time, will go on to the medium tyres for his final run. Daniel and Callum will go through. Amadi should be rapid for these final 7 or 8 laps. And Callum is closing on Daniel. So Daniel, you know, Kota's probably one of his top tracks. Spa, he's quick, but he's got 1 or 2 that are closing the gap on him. Benji, Cam's teammate for today. AJ says he needs to go back to the pad. His wheel's broken. Okay. Benji will come out behind Labrat. And we'll have a mission on the mediums. As we see Benedict looking to try and overtake the Alpine. He is still yet to pit.
Benedict and Martin Silva had a good battle last week at Texas, actually, before Martin retired.
Benedict is looking like he's going to be promoted for next season. And again, at the moment, leading the way in the elites. But yet...
promotion, if that's the case.
He's still yet to pit, though, so he'll probably come out behind the likes of Capsock, Michael. I think Wesker's still yet to pit as well. I need to double-check that. Wesker's only to pit once, so he needs to stop. The only ones to stop then is Wesker, Benedict, and Portuguese. Everyone else has done so. So it is now for a race to the line. And Portuguese is actually pulling away here from Daniel. Almost 18 seconds gap. Benedict in the pit then for his final stop. And that's battle here for now P7. Jax, Capsock and Michael all going through.
So yeah, he must have just the softs to go.
I think he's doing the same strategy as his teammate. Callum just not quite closing in on Callum here. Just teetering around that 2-second mark. Is he just doing a bit of tyre preservation, maybe saving himself some fuel? I know a lot of drivers do under fuel in the likes of a safety car.
I think they're both just equal on their alienness.
Take me to your leader. Casamese right behind his teammate, gets past the Ferrari of Labrat. And will the Haas boys work together Again, Adam ahead. Katamis maybe doing the hold-up job. And let Adam just get released slightly. He's got 5 seconds to close in on Benedict, who's just come out on those fresh medium tyres. So it will be a difficult hunt for the Haas. Oh, as we see Benji go wide out of Pouillon.
Bridge doesn't need asking twice to play hold-up play.
No, he does not. Lennon says Daniel and Callum need to push, because when Portuguese pits, he's going to be rapid. I think Hamadi's got a lot of work to do to try and get that P2, as I predicted. It's different, the wrong, probably the wrong strategy. He's not going to close 8 seconds on the drivers ahead. The other two it just seem like they are slightly quicker.
Very impressive Martin Silver in P5 actually, the Alpine. Hopefully he can 5 laps to go, hopefully he can finish the race.
Yeah, just please don't DNF, please. Just want you to get some points. His teammate Capslock behind Jax, and not quite close enough to jump him as yet. As we see Benedict pass Wesker, and Wesker yet to pit, of course. Benedict to P10.
No safety car yet. Portuguese and Wesker will be the one that would benefit.
Well, I think, well, yeah, I think because at this time of the race, everyone will go on soft tyres, and everyone will be on used soft tyres, apart from Portuguese and Wesker. Katamis has got back ahead of his teammate. Adam must have made a mistake somewhere. Labrat and Benji. Thwarted currently by the Haas boys.
Dennis and Capslock have been together for most of the race as well. Some good battles.
They're like some Siamese twins. You know, like ones that are joined at the head. They like share an eye. But, keep one eye on Michael. You can just see him in the foreground. Just about 1.5 seconds behind these two. He does have a track limits penalty. But if he can get past them, he can make an interesting battle towards the end.
Capslock's going to fancy a bit of DRS now.
Go down to Labrat and Benji. Benji getting a better launch out of. Oh no! Oh no, he's disconnected. Get him back in quick, otherwise he's going to lose out. He lives in Scotland where they don't have proper internet. I think Portuguese needs to pit this lap. He does. Any later, and he would have no time to chase down. Oh, he looked like he was going to miss the line. He would have done a Terry's trick.
Going to be tight where he's going to come out.
Well, pit stop's about 18.8 seconds, so he's with around that pit stop time. They're going to come out side by side, I reckon. Puts on those soft tyres. As Daniel approaches turn 1. Portuguese comes out, turn 1 comes out ahead of Daniel. That's a brilliant drive from Portuguese. Timed that to perfection. Amadi's in the pits. Oh, his car's pitting for him. What a stupid. That's unfortunate for the Red Bull. Bloody car's putting softs on for him. Why? Oh.
Portuguese can make the gap over a second, which he already has done.
Yeah, those few corners.
Should be the race in the bag for him.
The only one left to pit now is Wesker. I say he probably needs to pit now. Portuguese got open air, so he's going to be pushing for that fastest lap as well. As Benji and Labrat fighting at turn 1 again. Side by side going down to Eau Rouge. Benji slots behind Labrat again, just doesn't want to try and force anything, being a reserve and messing up a full-timers race. But we'll get DRS as well. Difficult to make the move as Katami's getting past his teammate again. These Haas boys working together, trying to pull away from the guys behind, but just got too much pace.
Well driven by Benjamin. Could have been carnage.
Armady back in his car, but he's found himself now in P9. That is a shame.
Yeah. He should jump Michael on penalties, and whether he's got the pace in those 3 laps to catch up with Jax.
Maybe he's on soft tyres, so I won't put it past him. As it stands, lap 20:22. Portuguese leads us away 2.5 seconds now. Just gained out 1.5 seconds in a lap. With Daniel, then Callum rounding off the podium. Martin doing well, like you said, now in P4 after Amadi's unfortunate pit stop. Brutus running P5, very, very consistent season. And doing a brilliant job for your team, for that constructors. Capslock running P6, and as it stands, will continue his podium form and actually win today's race in Spa. Jax Daniels P7 for the elite though. Jax P7 with Michael P8. We'll get on that podium for the elite as Wesker now finally pitting. Amadi P9 and Benedict will get himself on the podium as well. But the gap will close with Capslock and Michael behind him for that championship.
Making the move on Michael now.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jax opens his legs and gets absolutely fucked by D and doesn't fight him. It's a different battle. D. Look how much traction he's got round Brussels. Should have a good run out through No Name and go ahead just out of Pullion. You know, he starts behind. Jax not giving up the position like he has done before. Oh, bumper cars behind. Labrat and Katamis. Labrat did well to stay out the wall. And Katamis staying ahead. That could have been dangerous. Linazukan past Katz. Down the Camel.
Portuguese showing his pace with that fastest lap.
Yeah, and every point counts, and you'd expect him to get it going on softs right at the end. Amadi will struggle. Yeah, Amadi will struggle to get it. He's stuck behind Jax.
Hard racing between Benjamin, Labrat and Katamis.
Look, hard but fair. As Amadi does get past Jax at turn 1. Capslock has broken away from Jax Daniels, but Michael is all over the back of the Aston Martin as well. Jax needs to look both front and behind him as we look at P4, Brutus and Martin, and Brutus up to P4 ahead of Martin. Martin struggling now on these tyres as they approach the end of the race. Jax getting back ahead of Amadi. Aston Martin.
He will not like that.
He will not, and going a bit too much on the curb. It's opened the door for Michael on the inside of Brussels. Amadi closing the door though sharply. All in a bit of a tether, the Red Bull. Jax Daniels.
Brutus didn't have that turn 1 incident. He could have been right behind Callum.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He was at the back, wasn't he? Wow.
Great showing by the V car to get up to P4.
Definitely a potential contender for driver of the day, Brutus. It's a Portuguese strategy merchant. A class above the rest so far on this, as he's running around the final lap. Got a good 5.5 second gap to Daniel. He just couldn't display the pace, but he has just kept Callum at bay.
Just holding up these behind him.
Just starting the final lap now. He'll be struggling to keep them behind. And Benedict's in play as well. You can just see him in the second Red Bull. Oh, he just managed to avoid the rear end of Jax Daniels. braking slightly later. Jack's on that 11, on those 11 lap old hard tyres. But he should be able to make easy meet of the Aston down the Camel. Jack's going on the defensive, defends the inside of Lacombe's. Amadi on the outside, side by side. As we go through Lacombe's, it's very tight, but brilliant defence by Jax on the inside of Malmedy. Still ahead of Brussels, locks up, and Amadi goes wide. What happened to Amadi? He just went straight off into the wall.
Locked up his brakes and ended up smashing into the wall.
Oh my God! I don't.
Oh, now we can't get around the corner.
I wonder if there's been an issue with his wheel. That's very much unlike Amadi. As well, watching that, Portuguese takes another win this season, this time at Spa with a brilliant display. Daniel continues his good start to lightly racing and takes home P2 with Callum rounding off the podium positions with P3. And that's Amadi again. He's dropping like a sack of spuds down the order. I'm struggling through Piff Paff. And who isn't struggling is Brutus Beer. Will come home P. Oh no, he's run out of fuel. He ran out of fuel. And Martin takes P4 at the line with Brutus coming home P5. Ran out of fuel. Capslock in the Alp. Great show for the Alpines. 4th and 6th with Capslock. Michael gets jumped by Jax Daniels, who takes P7. Benedict P8. So Capslock takes the win for the elite. Benedict P8 takes P2, and Michael will come home P3 in P and also P9 on grid. Adam Mako ahead of his teammate P10. I think he'll be quite chuffed with that. Katamise P11, Labrat 12, and Benji 13th. Great battle with those four, especially on that last stint of the race. Amadi going in the pits. Oh my God, D's having an absolute mare. As Wesker comes home P14. Not bad considering he pit right near the end. Amadi's car will finish. He'll get a finishing spot, but come home P15. We'll have to see what it finishes. Benja, Lenizuka, and then Katz. What happened then? Brother Amadi absolutely crumbled like the cliffs at Dover. Spa's always a fun.
Finishing P2 now.
Yeah, and I think he would have struggled to get podium anyway. But yeah, do not know what happened there. As Portuguese, he's gone all millennial. He's got his phone out and takes the win here in Spa. Congratulations to the Portuguese, and gets fastest lap as well. Driver of the day is given by Adam Mako, and to the game, of course, it gets given to the driver by the drivers, and by getting most overtakes. Portuguese race win, fastest lap 43.3. Daniel P2, and Callum rounding off the podium positions P3. Martin Silva, brilliant drive from him, as you mentioned. P4, Brutus Beer P5, Capsock P6 as well, gets pole and race win for the elite. Jax Daniel P7 from 11th, Benedict P8 from 14th, 9th for Michael, and Adamaka ran of top 10 from 16th. Katamise, Labrat, Benji Wesker, Benja, Linazuka, and Katz, with Amadi having that unfortunate incident on the final lap, and AJ, the only official DNF of the race.
What a race.
It was a good race, and I think this sort of track, it needs something like the mandatory tyres to give it that extra little spice, and it did just that.
Yeah, the mandatory tyre races always spice it up,
and
make it exciting.
And we'll get more of that in about 20 minutes' time for Div 2 boys. So join us again around 9 p.m. UK to get that little bit of action. If not, and you want to see Div 1 again, join us next Wednesday around 7:30 UK, where we'll be at Austria Reverse. And if I remember rightly, that was an absolute classic, which we had on a couple of seasons ago. And as I mentioned, Mr. Brutus Beer won that one. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Big thank. Yeah, I think you say that, but you're on a good streak. You're on a good streak. So just a little bit of practice for that. But how are you feeling for the next race?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Not expecting the greatest result, but we'll enjoy it.
Well, I think you'll do absolutely great. And like you did with myself, commentating on debut.
Keep you company.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. And hopefully we'll get you back on again. Thank you everyone else for joining us. This is Lights Out League Racing. See you in about 20 minutes. Peace out.